an immigrant, it is imperative that black people from other places understand the disparate difference that they exist from black people in the United States. It is not the same. Period. And ultimately, the best effort that we can do as a diaspora is to lead in understanding, not in judgment. So when I am talking to somebody from Sudan, from the Congo, from Angola, I am listening to understand their experience, not to undermine it. And I refuse to allow anybody from Grenada, from Angola, from any other place to come and try to undermine the experience of black Americans.
We are not a damn immigrant group. We are native-born, ethnic, foundational black Americans created right here on this soil. We had a unique ethnogenesis, ladies and gentlemen, mixing with the black aboriginal that was already here, the captives brought over from Africa through forced trafficking, resulting in a new people, not an immigrant population. We are not immigrants. Captives did not immigrate. They were absorbed into an emerging population that already existed on this land. Many black people were already on this land prior to European arrival, and then the people forced over, blended in with that. That created an ethnogenesis, ladies and gentlemen. That is not no damn immigration in any sense of the word, ladies and gentlemen. Immigration, that implies voluntary entry. That implies making a deal. That implies pledging allegiance to a new nation. No, that means leaving somewhere and then going somewhere better. No. We had an extremely unique situation, not even comparable in any sense of the word to some damn immigration. You don't immigrate into fucking slavery. You idiots. You don't immigrate into slavery, lynchings, and beatings. It's disrespectful to even frame the narrative like that. These people are so damn disrespectful, it's ridiculous. We didn't immigrate into abuse. We had to overcome that. We don't immigrate into being property. We had to overcome that. Disrespectful ass. These people piss me off. It's not even remotely the same. A lot of the stuff we were before the ethnogenesis were deliberately, violently stripped, removing the very definition of what a damn immigrant is. Foundational black American identity was shaped by American soil, the laws, the oppression here, the survival strategies here, not immigrant assimilation. We had to start from scratch and get everything out of the mud. Immigration means somebody's helping your ass. Nobody helped us. We had to get it all out the damn mud. We didn't have a DACA program. Nobody gave us a credit card with some money on it the minute we got here. No. Nobody had little food pantries and stuff waiting on us. We had to create our own cuisine out of scraps. The hell? It ain't the same. We ain't no damn immigrants.
Dominicans are not black. We are not black. And no matter how much black Americans cry about it, we're not black. We will never be black. Yes, I look black, but we're not black. And it's just a reminder to black Americans who are so pathetically forcing Dominicans to label themselves as black. But we keep telling them we have our own culture. We know black papi. They still force it on us. So just a reminder, Dominicans are not black.
I don't identify myself as a black person anymore. I identify myself as a Jamaican person.
I've always identified as a Grenadian. American one, and I'm not black.
Everybody was shocked at that statement. Like, black? What are you then? Like, I'm a person. What is black? So what are you? Yellow, like lemonish green? What is that with?
It's difficult because I don't identify as being black. Also, like, I was
not black, I'm African. It's a big difference. I came in a plane, they came in chains. I'm passenger in their cargo.
If I didn't know better, I would think that was called delineation. I mean, by definition, that's delineation. That's not a bad thing, but what's the purpose of them delineating? See, their purpose for delineating is to basically shade us, to basically separate themselves from us, to make themselves more adjacent or to appease white people. See, we delineate because we understand that now we have no choice. We're last to the delineation party. We weren't the ones trying to delineate. We were the ones that were trying to say, hey, we're all black. Hey, we all have to see this white supremacy as a problem and work together to replace that system. See, if they did see themselves as black as we did, they could still keep their cultural nuances. But if they did see themselves as black, the same way we do, then we would have been able to get this Pan-African thing going. We would have been able to link up. We'd be able to easily raise the status of black people globally.
قضية إلهام معها قضية إلهام معها قضية مينيسوتا معها قضية غير مريكان قضية إلهام وقضية صومالية معها قضية مينيسوتا معها قضية غير مريكان قضية إلهام وقضية صومالية جوش إلهام وجوش صوماليات وحين نروح نبارسن تاي معنوي أنا أقول لك لا يوم ما عدتك صوماليات أردن مال والباقي جوجان waxaan idinka codsanayaa inaad hiil iyo hoole garab istaagtaan ku taageertaan codkiina.
And this is Ilhan Omar. We know who Ilhan Omar. Hassan is the president or prime minister of Somalia. They had a roundtable meeting with nothing but Africans talking about getting in to American politics, but understanding that they are 100% Somalian and they will never change. Now, in this clip that I'm about to show, Mr. Ali, Hassan Ali, is talking, and he's letting it be known that Ilhan Omar is there to take a Black American seat in Congress.
It is very important in Ilhan tahay Somali tahay meeshaas lagu jiro. Qofkii Soomaaliya oo aragtidiisu tahay nin madow ha qaato kursigaas ama qof ha qaato qof maro. Marka taas waa lagu dhiirigelinayaa sababtaan arrinkan ugu soo celinaya Soomaalida oo sheegay.
They are not here to be our friends. They are not here to fight for all Black people. They are here to fight for Somalians. That's it. Those are not my words. It's their words. It's their actions, right? So before y'all jump on here, look, just another jealous Black American. I'm not jealous of anything. We can't be beat. We're undefeated here. That's something y'all forgot. Mind you, this shit was on camera. So I want to know what y'all got to say about that. I already know that Black Americans have no allies at all. We don't have friends here. We don't have allies here, especially Africans. It's sad, but it's true. And it's not coming from us. It's coming from you guys, because you guys come over here to this country, automatically look at us as enemy number one. Then you get caught on camera doing this kind of shit. It's absolutely crazy, but I love when people show their true colors. Please tell me who you are so I can believe you the first time.
All right, so the link is out there for anyone to hit the link. While you are deciding whether or not you're going to hit the link and share what you think, I want to start here. So no one with an American history education can deny that the so-called African American, our ancestral commitment to Pan-Africanism, right? It's pretty well documented. Dating back to the early 1900s, our ancestor W.E.B. Du Bois, however you like to say that. For me, that's tomato, Du Bois. He flew to the UK to attend the very first Pan-African Congress, okay? The first Pan-African Congress, which was held in London, and he helped draft one of the Congress's official statements called Address to the Nations of the World. For the next 60 years, and that's a lifetime, for the next 60 years, one of Du Bois's many causes would be greater independence for African people. I feel like Sister Soldier when I say that. Sister Soldier would be like, African people. Finally, another indigenous Black American who was putting it down, something Cornel West couldn't even touch for African people. I digress. Finally, in about 1960, he was able to visit an independent Ghana, as well as traveling to Nigeria. So 1 year later, Ghana invited Du Bois back to oversee the creation of the Encyclopedia Africana. Du Bois was already over 90 years old, and he subsequently decided to remain in Ghana and claim Ghanaian citizenship for himself. He died there at the age of 95. So 5 years later. W.E.B. Du Bois was far from alone in his fervent Pan-Africanism. The late, great Malcolm X, Al-Hajj Malik al-Shabazz, Malcolm Little, Detroit Red, all of these things. Malcolm X could be found touring and empowering Africa from Ghana to Egypt, Nigeria, etc. The Kings, both Martin Luther King Jr. and his wife Coretta Scott King, used their platforms to visit and promote Africa. More recently, we have someone like Sha'Carri Richardson and other Black Americans who have donated handsomely to hurricane relief efforts in Jamaica after Hurricane Melissa. Sha'Carri Richardson alone donated $500,000 to the Jamaicans who once laughed in her face. But because of the caliber of her heart, that Negro heart that beats in her chest, that indigenous Black American heart that beats in her chest, she wasn't about to let the actions of a few Jamaicans destroy how she feels about the many. Our predecessors were also pro-Palestinian and the friends of, well, any oppressed group of people that we heard about around the globe. You know, if we could relate, or if we could see it, even if we couldn't relate, we'd be like, hey, that's wrong. It was Dr. Martin Luther King who said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So like, we all about it, right? This is our culture. This is our cultural heritage. And this is why we're in the midst of a cultural renaissance, because things are happening. We've been looking at this Pan-Africanism for decades now, and we're like, is it time to change courses? So, from Maya Angelou to Oprah Winfrey, we find Indigenous Black Americans, male and female, dropping millions of dollars in and on Africa. The late, greatest of all time, the original GOAT, Michael Jackson, donated so much to charity that, I mean, he has saved economies. I mean, especially to Africa. His We Are the World campaign, USA for Africa, 1985, that charity single still rings throughout the nations of the world. If that weren't enough of a portrait of the Pan-Africanism laying deep in the heart of the American Negro, you also have Heal the World, Earth Song, Liberian Girl, Man in the Mirror, all music that went around the world by the most influential person since Jesus Christ, centering Africa and her people. All proceeds being what? You guessed it, donated to Africa. I was a toddler when I first saw Man in the Mirror, the music video, and I promised myself, newly potty trained, promised myself that I would, quote, help those kids. And as an adult, I traveled myself to South Africa and throughout East Africa, and I kept my promise. So where is yours? Where is the return on our investment as Black American freedmen? You see, I can only think of a few instances wherein Pan-Africanism has been reciprocated. Indeed, 3 countries even come to mind: Mexico, Cuba, and Libya. Sure, Akon and Ghana dish out citizenship and passports, but at what cost? Because the last Black American woman I heard about living abroad in Ghana, who went out there and bought land and property, was slain and it ran off her land. The claim against her being that, sure, she purchased the land, but was only supposed to build it up and live off of it for 50 years. And after that 50 years, everything you built, everything you accumulated, you got to return it to the people you purchased it from. There was no true homecoming for her and many other Black Americans who claim to have been hustled and bamboozled, taken for a mark, a fool, run amok in their, quote, back to Africa endeavors on the African continent. So no, I'm not going to be talking about Ghana here. I'm going to be talking about Mexico, Cuba, and Libya. Mexico may not remember the Alamo, but Black Americans are always going to remember being able to run to Mexico fleeing slavery. You have Guerrero, you have Yspad, you have people who were able to flee slavery to the point where there are indigenous Afro-Mexicans, you heard me, indigenous Afro-Mexicans to date who still celebrate Juneteenth. Without the internet, without anybody telling them, but because that ancestry is mixed and we belong in some part to their ethnogenesis, there are little Afro-Mexican communities that still celebrate Juneteenth. Black America will also never forget Cuba. Cuba's commitment to hiding our Black Panthers, like the late, great Assata Shakur and many more. A lot of people talk about Assata Shakur because her case blew up, but Cuba was faithful to the cause of Black Americans, right? Refusing to give them up to the American government when pressed for them. So there's gratitude there. Even where we may or may not disagree in politics, there's always going to be gratitude there. And lastly, and probably, I don't want to say nearest and dearest to my heart because I really appreciate Cuba, but Muammar Gaddafi of Libya, the man who was a blessing to his people and the worst thing possible for those against his people. This African Arab who was a true Pan-Africanist, who some say was taken out for his commitment to unite Africa's currency and back it by their gold standard because there's plenty gold in Africa. This man believed so much in the American Negro that he pledged $1 billion to help build the Black American community in continental America, but was thwarted by the American government, which knows what it means to support a historically Pan-Africanist community, right? You can go wrong with that. I need just a minute. My mama is calling me and I have a feeling that it might be one of my nieces or nephews. So just hang in here with me while I give you, I'll give you this.
We are not a damn immigrant group. We are native-born, ethnic, foundational Black Americans created right here on this soil. We had a unique ethnogenesis, ladies and gentlemen, mixing with the Black Aboriginal that was already here. The captives brought over from Africa through forced trafficking, resulting in a new people, not an immigrant population. We are not immigrants. Captives did not immigrate. They were absorbed into an emerging population that already existed on this land. Many black people were already on this land prior to European arrival, and then the people forced over, blended in with that. That created an ethnogenesis, ladies and gentlemen. That is not no damn immigration in any sense of the word, ladies and gentlemen. Immigration, that implies voluntary entry. That implies making a deal. That implies pledging allegiance to a new nation. No, that means leaving somewhere and then going somewhere better. No. We had an extremely unique situation, not even comparable in any sense of the word to some damn immigration. You don't immigrate into fucking slavery. You idiots. You don't immigrate into slavery, lynchings, and beatings. It's disrespectful to even frame the narrative like that. These people are so damn disrespectful, it's ridiculous. We didn't immigrate into abuse. We had to overcome that. We don't immigrate into being property. We had to overcome that. Disrespectful ass. These people piss me off. It's not even remotely the same. A lot of the stuff we were before the ethnogenesis were deliberately, violently stripped, removing the very definition of what a damn immigrant is. Foundational Black American identity was shaped by American soil, the laws, the oppression here, the survival strategies here, not immigrant assimilation. We had to start from scratch and get everything out of the mud. Immigration means somebody's helping your ass. Nobody helped us. We had to get it all out the damn mud. We didn't have a DACA program. Nobody gave us a credit card with some money on it the minute we got here. No. Nobody had little food pantries and stuff waiting on us. We had to create our own cuisine out of scraps. The hell? It ain't the same. We ain't no damn immigrants.
قضية إلهان معها قضية إلهان معها قضية مينيسوتا معها قضية غير مريكان قضية إلهان وقضية صوماليا معها قضية مينيسوتا معها قضية غير مريكان قضية إلهان وقضية صوماليا جوش إلهان وجوش صوماليات وحين نوح بارسنتاي معنوي aniga oo ku hadlayo magaca dadka Soomaaliyeed oo dhan meel walba ay joogaan waxaan idinka codsanayaa inaad heel iyo hool garab istaagtaan ku taageertaan codkiina.
And this is Ilhan Omar. We know who Ilhan Omar. Hassan is the president or prime minister of Somalia. They had a roundtable meeting with nothing but Africans talking about getting into American politics, but understanding that they are 100% Somalian and they will never change. Now, in this clip that I'm about to show, Mr. Ali, Hassan Ali, is talking, and he's letting it be known that Ilhan Omar is there to take a Black American seat in Congress.
It is very important in Ilhan tayo Somali tayo meeshaas lagu jiro. Qofkii Soomaaliya oo aragtidiisu tahay nin madow ha qaato kursigaas ama qof cad ha qaato qof moral.
They are not here to be our friends. They are not here to fight for all Black people. They are here to fight for Somalians. That's it. Those are not my words. It's their words. It's their actions, right? So before y'all jump on here, look, just another jealous Black American. I'm not jealous of anything. We can't be beat. We're undefeated here. That's something y'all forgot. Mind you, this shit was on camera. So I want to know what y'all got to say about that. I already know that Black Americans have no allies at all. We don't have friends here. We don't have allies here, especially Africans. It's sad, but it's true. And it's not coming from us. It's coming from you guys, because you guys come over here to this country, automatically look at us as enemy number one. Then you get caught on camera doing this kind of shit. It's absolutely crazy, but I love when people show their true colors. Please tell me who you are so I can believe you the first time.
Is talking about Muammar Gaddafi before my nephew called. Today is his birthday, so we had, exchanged some things, and I gave him his gift yesterday. Anyhow, Muammar was incredible. I think in America we were fed a story about him that was inaccurate. I really do. And when I look at the way that, young couples in their 20s would get married, he'd buy them a home. Young couples, he would incentivize them. The whole country had free electricity under Gaddafi. Gaddafi could go around without security. That's how beloved to his people he was. He could get in a car, stand outside of the sunroof, and he didn't need a security detail because he was precious to his people. Muammar was like this. If one of my people are sick, and I'm talking, he did this for everybody in his nation. If one of his people were sick, and they could not address that, maybe they needed some kind of surgery or something that Libya didn't have, he would fly you to the US, to the UK, whatever nation that had it, and pay for it. This is Libya under Gaddafi. And Gaddafi was like, come on, Africa, we got to unite. Pan-Africanists, this and that. He got taken out. He got called a bunch of things that he wasn't, everything but a child of God. I won't keep going with that, but the point is, Muammar Gaddafi put his trust in Black American people. And for a man to be that to his people, and of all people across the world, look at us and say $1 billion to you because I believe in you. He tried to give he tried to exchange $1 billion with the Nation of Islam in Farrakhan. And our government thwarted that. Muhammad saw our money, our travels, our hands, the work of our hands, and trusted us as a people. The UN took one look at our Malcolm X and said, you know, we'll support you. Cuba took one look at Black American integrity and protected ours. Mexico, our neighbor, our brothers in indigeneity who also experienced an ethnogenesis in North America, they covered us and kept us. So, however, I just want to say these are the only examples, the only people I can think of who have reciprocated our Pan-Africanism in a way that results in benefit for the Black American, in a way that results in tangible benefit for the Black American. And 2 out of 3 of these countries ain't even African, right? In Mexico, it ain't even Caribbean. So lately, and I'm going to get to the panel prompt in a minute, but lately, the Black American, we have been flanked with Black and Caribbean people all over the world, African and Caribbean people all over the world, negating and sabotaging the Black American community. They came to America naturally delineating and rejecting being Black, only to find out that they too were Black. We welcomed them with open arms and taught them the game, thinking we were all the same. And of course, we would do that because the Black Americans, some of us who do have African ancestry, some of us don't, but those of us who do, you take a DNA test and there's, 13, 14 different countries. You're Congolese, you're Nigerian, you're Cote d'Ivoire, you're Ivory Coast, you're Senegal, you're Gambia, you're Nigerian, you're Niger, you're Angola, so it just makes sense for a person with all them African nations and all them African ethnicities to it just makes sense for a person like that to be like being Pan-Africanist is not hard for that person when you come from all them places. I know there are people who they come to America and they fly their flag, their Somali flag, their Ghanaian flag, and Black Americans were the first people to just put the big Africa medallion. They're like, hold a continent, the continent, just wearing a big old continent and a kufi, right? Beautiful. However, the late 1970s would prove that we were all alone and abandoned. We were rooting for everybody Black, but everybody Black wasn't rooting for us. Lazy, uneducated, degenerate, bullet bag, felon baby mama is what we got called by the people we embraced. We said, we're all Black. They said, well, you have no culture. The rest of us do. They said, you have no language. And yet they speak several. They know several languages, but they speak ours. They speak one. They speak ours primarily. And it's odd for them to say this about language because they're like, oh, if you had a culture, you would have a language. You don't have a language. I'm like, y'all don't say this to the Mexicans, Dominicans, or Puerto Ricans, though. Don't you think that's funny? Or did you ignorantly think that Spanish was the original language of these people? No, Spanish is the language of their European colonizers. This is far from the languages of the Taino and the Arawak and the Nahuatl speaking people. They speak the language of their colonizer, and you never say they don't have culture. But when it comes to us, you use it as a primary reason to say that we don't have any culture. And, Black Americans recognize the targeting and the bullying. And it's like, it's cool when they do it. It's a problem when we do it. Right. So sickened by decades of this, Black Americans have decided to take a page out of y'all's book. You don't like delineation, but the truth is we're the last to do it. We're the latest to the trend. You delineated off rip, off top. From the get-go, and no one had a problem with it. So why is there an issue now? Today we see African and Caribbean people elected to office who shoot down the idea entirely of reparations for the original Black American. Vehemently opposed to us receiving what is ours in compensation for the work of our ancestors. The ignorant among them say, oh, but slavery was so long ago, not realizing that Americans had color TV before Black Americans had civil rights in this country. And I have to say it like that to put things in context for you. Like, do you realize that America, we had color TVs. We were watching TV and Looney Tunes in Technicolor before Negroes had civil rights, before we could vote, before we had human rights. That should jog your memory. This is not, oh, such a long time ago. Sure, slavery, long time ago. Even if slavery didn't exist, what we went through before we were able to become full-fledged citizens of this back when they called us 3/5 of a person, back when they considered us a superior pet, like a dog being man's best friend and you being the only thing above a dog. Your grandparents were here. My mother was a toddler when Dr. King was assassinated. These pictures of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, they come in color too. There was a time where Americans only had black and white everything for media. And so they'll try to get you to think, try to put these images in black and white to make you think it happened a much longer time ago. But I'm like, nah, bro. Malcolm X's kids are still here. Dr. King's kids are still alive, like from his loins. I'm not talking about grandkids and great grandkids. I'm talking about the kids they gave birth to. This is not a long time ago. We were second class, apartheid, Jim Crow citizens of this nation. And then 10 years after we fought and died for our rights, right, in the 1970s, your parents started to show up and benefit from that struggle. But they were different from you because decades ago, the Asians, the Mexicans, the migrants, immigrants, they joined the Black student unions and the Black marches and protests, and they united with us and they showed gratitude. They wrote about us. They wrote home about us. They said, hey, these Black Americans are like this. Hey, the Samoans created a Samoan Panther Party. They're like, hey, we got to get like these Negroes. Like this is what's going on. Some of these Asians, they went back to China. They're just like, yo, we got to get buck. We got to here's the African American blueprint. Like we got to hop on this. And not that they said African American, because we all know that was a term not created until 1988 by Jesse Jackson, who fully claims all of his Cherokee ancestry, but I digress from that. Today, the Black American has empowered communities that undermine their own, and that's the big problem. Because of this, Pan-Africanism has lost its appeal to the American Negro, the so-called American Negro. The so-called Black American has been bullied out of their own category of even being an African American, that term Jesse Jackson created in the 80s. Because naturalized citizens from Africa say, no, I'm the real African American. I heard Myron Gaines say that. He said, I'm the truest definition of an African American. I'm Sudanese and I'm American. I'm an American citizen. So I'm the real African American. What are you? You're just Black, right? They're like, oh, these are Akata. Akata, I guess it literally means stray cat, but in context, it means no connection to Africa. So imagine being called Akata for decades. Somebody saying you're cut off, you have no connection to Africa, and then you say, fine, I'm not African. And they're like, wait, nigga. Wait a minute, Negro. Not so fast to that delineation, sir. So at first that hurt, right? For people to be like, oh, like for people to occupy us. Like, you're not African American, we're African American. Oh, you're Black American? Well, I'm a Black American too. Hand over that scholarship, my boy. At first that hurt, but today we say, fine, have it, right? Because we are a people, we've been reclassified several times since Walter Plecker, and we can do it again. We say, hey, they're right. Our nearest African ancestors are centuries away. We don't know them. We're Black Americans. This is what we will call our ethnic group. We said, okay, we're Black. And they will turn to us and be like, oh, so you want to call yourself a Black American now? You don't want to say African? Well, we're Black too. We're Black in America too. So, hand over that scholarship, Tritarius. It belongs to me. Shout out to my Igbo people. If it wasn't for them raising me better than you, I would not have this. They pledge historically Black sororities and fraternities, and then say we have no culture as they stroll, step, and cry chants our people created over 100 years ago. Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated was founded in 1906. That's over 100 years ago. Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated was founded in 1908. That's over 100 years ago. And hand signals and grips and handshakes, words of pledge, being on the burning sands, being on set, all these things, whether you're made or you skate, like all these things are 100 years old. And even though you're doing them as an Ethiopian and you're doing them as an Igbo Nigerian and you're doing them as a Yoruba, it's like, oh, they have no culture. Honey, you just sang a song that is 100 years old. Do-do-do-do-do-do. All of my love, of my life, I'm gonna give it to Omega. Somebody tell me why. Zoom, zoom. I'm like, these songs are older than you. Language, culture, values, traditions, all these things. I'm sorry, I had to go there about the D9 sororities and fraternities. I don't know why I had to go there that deep, but I had to. Now, I should say that this is not all of them. Of course not. That would be ignorant to say. The most righteous among Africans and Caribbeans, they tell their brethren, like, yo, I got to call you out on this offense, but still the Black American is weary because now we find ourselves in the same situation that we have with white people. Muhammad Ali had this to say to a white interviewer about racism. He's like, if 10,000 snakes are coming at me and 1,000 of them are non-poison, non-venomous, you think I'm gonna open my door for them and hope that the non-venomous ones protect me from the ones that are venomous, or do you think I'm just gonna shut my door? Yeah, I know it's 1,000 of them that won't hurt me, but am I gonna take the chance? No. And now the Black American is facing that on both sides. And we shouldn't have to be gaslit about this when it's just like, I've met so many Africans who are just like, oh my God, you're so different for a Black person. I'm like, you don't even have any Black friends. How are you going to say that? But you're good and you're religious and you're blah, blah. I'm talking about when I was an undergrad, I was super duper Christian. I'm like, yeah, African Americans are uneducated and they're violent and they're gangbangers and felons and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, your mama told you that, but what's your experience? Miss Delta Sigma Theta, what's your experience? Miss A Phi A, Miss Black and Gold? You're over here with all of us, enjoying our Blackness, enjoying our Black traditions. You don't know nobody like the Black people your parents told you about. And if you do, it's because you're delinquent too. So now what? So the Black American is weary because they find themselves having two enemies on their home front. The enemy of white supremacy and the enemy of erasure by the hand of those who are trying to replace us in culture and movies and theater and politics and neighborhoods and history. Actively trying to erase us. Oh, this is a nation of immigrants. Oh, African immigrants built this country. Lady, are you insane? Why don't you know American history enough to know that the very first people to be enslaved here were Aborigine? This is why so many of these Siberian Native Americans, these Asian Native Americans, they don't have any stories about slavery to tell you. They go straight to boarding schools when they're talking about the atrocities in their history. That's the reason they do that, because the slavery memory belongs with us. We are the Aborigines who were also mixed with the Africans and some of the Asiatic people who were enslaved. And before an African was ever put on a boat and brought to the Americas, these Aborigines, these indigenous people were enslaved. And when colonizers from Spain came over here and saw the people, they were just like, oh, these people look something like the Ethiopians. What Siberian, look Ethiopian? What Chinaman, what Korean, what Japanese person, look like an Ethiopian? And don't get me started on Ethiopia today, because when they said we look like Ethiopians, they meant big Negro built bodies. Ethiopia used to be a huge region called Abyssinia. And that Ethiopia of old, of hundreds of years ago, was so big. It was from East Africa to just near the coast of West Africa. And through conquering and colonization, that Ethiopia got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And the last piece of Ethiopia that they lost was called Eritrea. And now they have this little hunk of Ethiopia that has never been conquered. But before, Hell, Abyssinia, Ethiopia, that was used to describe even places in India. So they were looking at people who were copper colored. They're like, all right, they nappy headed, they're copper colored, they're thick lipped, they're blah blah blah. All these descriptions are there, and so many times I hear people of the diaspora like, no, abadaga, you're African, and I'm just like looking at the Jamaicans and the Haitians like, you're an Amerindian too. Why are you not standing up in this conversation? You have as much Aborigine DNA. Like, what in the world? Are you so sold out for Ethiopia you don't acknowledge your Aborigine heritage? Like, hello? Am I not looking at Tainos and Arawaks in Puerto Rico? Like what's going on? The Nigeria is there, the Spanish is there, the indigenous is there too. Hello? So anyhow, white supremacy on one side and cultural erasure on the other. And we're damned if we do or don't, because if we call it out, we get called xenophobic. And of course, we feel put in a box by that because xenophobia has never been our way. We've always been welcoming. The people all over the world say that Black Americans are the most welcoming, non-judgmental people. It's the reason why we have the most biracial people. We're not just going to throw you out because you're a different color or because you have dark skin or light skin or whatever. Like, we end up making the most biracial babies, except for Chinese women. I think they date interracially more than every other population. But, Black men are a close second to Chinese women. Anyhow, that's not what this is about. In light of all of this, we gather ourselves around ourselves and say, delineate. We draw a line in the sand. And I should say, it's not to divorce love for the diaspora. It's not to disown African heritage for those that may have it. We simply uphold our own ethnogenesis and cultural ingenuity and abandon anyone that disrespects that, because we're tired. We don't want to be on TikTok arguing with you. We don't want to be on panels arguing with you. We don't want to hear you talk about how our mothers don't have culture, how our grandmother was just ew. All that's ugly. And I'll tell you something about a destiny swap. When people want a destiny swap with you, they want to get into a relationship with you and fight with you. And then if you lose the fight, that's how they take your energy. And this is a great big Daniel Kaluuya. I'm so sorry to have to say it. Cynthia Erivo playing Harriet Tubman, playing African Americans and Get Out. Whoop you. It's a big old destiny swap. Do you really want that? If you don't even engage in the fight. Like, engage in decent conversations, engage in true exchanges of information in safe spaces, but like all that hatred stuff, don't even engage in that. So now I'm getting back to the panel prompt. The panel prompt is, how has Pan-Africanism benefited the Black American? And my one caveat is that you cannot use the examples that I gave. All the ologies. Exactly. And this is a painful experience, like, especially because we had our arms wide open for so many different ethnic groups. So if no one can come up here and tell me 3 to 5 ways Pan-Africanism has benefited the American freedmen, then I can just stop the live. I could just thank you for your time and end this right here. Because I have already listed all the ways that Pan-Africanism on the side of the Black American, the indigenous Black American, how it has helped others, how it has enhanced others, how it has uplifted others. But aside from Mexico, Cuba, and Libya, I cannot think of how that was done for us in return. And my biggest gripe, okay, Betsis, my biggest gripe is with the Africans and Caribbeans who are elected officials who vote against reparations. That's the thing that grinds my gears the most. Just because you wouldn't be entitled to reparations, right? A half Panamanian, half Jamaican guy sat on the Breakfast Club and said no, because I wouldn't get any. But if you were really Pan-Africanist, you would just want to help your brother out, right? So what if you don't get any? You can do business with people who do. You can get respected and protected by people who do. It has highlighted the lack of reciprocity leading to this moment. You are reaching to what happens to the least of us happens to all of us. I think the first one reaches more than this one. Love thy neighbor. That's all I got, and I tried real hard, girl. No, I appreciate this because look, let's say what happens to the least of us happens to all of us. The problem is they're not us. Cue Kendrick Lamar. And they tell us all the time, they're not us. We're the only people, all 54 African countries and all Caribbean islands, we're the only people they tell you don't have a culture. You don't have a culture. You don't have a like you're just nothing. You don't even know where you're from. And they say it like it's funny. They say it like it's funny. Like, first of all, some really ignorant woman said, "How can you be foundational Americans if you never found America? That means you found it." And I'm like, what's wrong with her? Like, she doesn't wear foundation on her face. You know, foundation means base. You know, it's the platform upon which things are built. You know, it's the bottom part. What's with this language here? Well, you didn't discover America, so how can you be foundational? You didn't find it first. And I'm like, wow, this is the conversation people are having. And this is why we have to create spaces for thinking people, because people will just say anything. They'll just say anything. Pan-Africanism preserves our history regarding slavery. Good one. How? Because I don't think it does at all. I think Pan-Africanism diminishes it, if anything, because they will try to tell us that we don't have an ethnicity and that we're just a derivative of them. They'll tell us you have no culture, you have no language, you have no country, you have no home, you're just a derivative of us. And they don't respect the fact that everything, all things Africa were taken away from us. Damn near all things Africa. And I say damn near because, I mean, we still got Orisha, we still got Hoodoo, Voodoo, Loa. We still have some of these indigenous religious practices, polytheism, Olorum, Olodumare, Oya, Yemeya, Oshun, Aja, Shango. Like, we still have some of these Africanisms. But I'm just like, when they make it about themselves and when they make it about continental Africa, they take away from the fact that we are our own ethnicity. They don't do that to the Jamaican. They allow the Jamaican to be their own ethnicity, even though the difference between us and them is a boat stop. They allow the Dominican to be their own ethnicity, even though the difference between us and them is an African boat stop, is a European boat stop with Africans on it. Literally like kids on a bus. They all go to the same school, and one get dropped off on 54th and Jackson, and the other one get dropped off on 56th and Jackson. A boat stop, like a bus stop, is the big difference. Same people stripped from that entire West Coast of Africa. She said, "Child, you know I'm reaching." Right. They ride hard for it. And I think it's because the problem with telling people that they're Black is that they think we're trying to call them an American Negro, is what they think. They think the only people that can be Black are Black Americans, because Black is the name of a giant race, but it's also the proper name of our ethnic group. And I think that's where the real issue comes into play. Because, and when I say proper name, I just mean proper noun, right? Like a noun being a person, place, or thing, a proper noun being the name of that person, place, or thing. So like, I'm a woman, the woman's name is Chocolate. So you write it in a sentence with a capital C. So one of our proper noun names is Black American. And so they think we're saying that they're not Dominican. They think we're saying, I, child, I don't know because I don't get it. We were just trying to acknowledge um, shared African ancestry, really, in calling people Black, shared African and Aborigine ancestry. But yeah, the Dominicans went hard, and we're just like, all right, well, we got to respect your delineation. That's fine, because at the end of the day, you are Dominican. We can talk about your ethnogenesis and say, oh, you come from these Hispanic, these Spanish people, conquistadors, these slave traders, these planters, these colonizers, and these indigenous people, and some of these Africans. But I'm just like, at the end of the day, you are bippity boppity boo Dominican. That's what you call an ethnogenesis. Where these people are, it's like getting put in a pestle and mortar. You got your cardamom and your cloves, and you grind it down into a powder. It's like, well, now you can't separate it. Now it's just a tea spice. It's like, oh, I put in my cardamom, and I put in my star anise, and I put in my clove, and you ground it down to, a powder that you can't separate. That's ethnogenesis. It's like, all right, well, here you are Dominican, so that's fine. I played a video earlier. I'll bring it up again because it looks like nobody can come up on the panel and tell me. It looks like nobody's coming up to tell me how Pan-Africanism benefits the American Negro. I was waiting for somebody to, I don't know, bring up Dr. Umar or something. But yeah, let me, here we go.
Dominicans are not black. We are not black. And no matter how much black Americans cry about it, we're not black. We will never be black. Yes, I look black, but we're not black. And it's just a reminder to black Americans who are so pathetically forcing Dominicans to label themselves as black. But we keep telling them we have our own culture. We know black papi. They still force it on us. So just a reminder, Dominicans are not black.
I don't identify myself as a black person anymore. I identify myself as a Jamaican person.
I've always identified as a grenade. American one, and I'm not black.
Everybody was shocked at that statement. Like, black? What are you then? Like, I'm a person. What is black? So what are you? Yellow, like lemonish green? What is I with?
It's difficult because I don't identify as being black. Also, like, I was
not black, I'm African.
Then I'm black?
No. It's a big difference. I came in a plane, they came in chains. I'm passenger in their cargo.
If I didn't know better, I would think that was called delineation. I mean, by definition.
I think that's crazy. And that's so hate-filled. It's like, why would anybody want to be united with you after that? He's not the only African who's ever said that thing about, like, nah, I'm African, they're black. I came over here, as a passenger. They came over here as cargo. Like, I came on a plane, they came in change. Like, we're different. And they associate that with superiority. And it's like, we ain't said nothing to them. And they'll all be like, I grew up, my parents told me you guys were like this and this, but I really like you. And I'm like, our parents didn't raise us like that. There was not a Black American parent in the 1970s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s telling their kids, stay away from these Africans. They're dirty, they're filthy, they're immoral, they're corrupt, they're lascivious, they're just lustful, disgusting, like none of us. We didn't talk to people like that. And yeah, Zane, and then they have all these jokes about how, like, oh, we sold you for liquor and cigs. We sold you for alcohol and smokes. That's how much your ancestors were worth to us. Ha 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 ha. And I'm like, well, laugh it up. But now you have a group of people who don't want anything to do with you. Now you have a group of people who are just like, we can't unite with that. We can't do anything with that. Now you have a group of people who understand that we were never all black. It was never that. You said exactly what you. No, I'm not black. I'm Jamaican. I'm Dominican. No, I'm not black. I'm Nigerian. I'm African. No, I'm not black. I'm blah blah blah. And you meant it. And we're like, all right, well, we're foundational Black Americans. We're ADOS. We're ADOS. And they're like, no, 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 no. They want us to have an open group while they have closed groups. They want to call themselves us, but we can't call ourselves them. I mean, Find an Ethiopian and a Somali and put them in the same room and have them call each other the same thing. You can't even call them East Africans. You can't even call the Somalis and the Ethiopians and the Habesha. You can't even call them East. They're like, no, we're Horner Africans. East Africa is Tanzania, Zanzibar, Uganda, Kenya. Like, do not call us. Those are East Africans. We do not look like those people. We do not cook like those people. Don't play with me. And you can't tell me nothing because I'm from Seattle. I'm from the hub of refugee immigrant. Like, hello. You can't tell me. You can't barely get an Ethiopian and a Somali to pray together in the mosque together. People break out in fights, rolling around in the masjid. Allahu Akbar. Dang. Fighting. In the Lord's house, in Allah's house. They all get to be something that belongs to themselves, but us, no. They're like, just be African American, we're all African American. Just be Black American, we're all Black Americans. It's like, well, we have a lineage too. You're not the only people who have your own culture. Like, oh, well, you don't have a culture. It's like, well, if you weren't busy practicing it, you would see that we do. It's not our fault that we have the world's most influential culture. Maybe it is. Maybe I need to rethink that statement. It's not our fault that everybody will want to dance like Michael Jackson. It's not my fault that every Asian I've ever gone to school with knows how to break dance. It's not our fault. But no, these are our authentic cultural expressions, and they're old as hell. You can see black and white. You remember I said we didn't have no rights. The Americans had color TVs before we had civil rights. You can find black and white videos of Black Americans where there was not Technicolor TV, and they still twerking. They still break dancing. They're still snaking and whopping. They're still like, we have a repeat of these cultural dances because it's in our bones. Evo says, cute picture. He says, we were brought here as exports from another land, like some new breed of livestock. And that's disgusting. And I think that's why Tariq Nasheed gets so, in this clip that I have here, so upset about people trying to call us immigrants. It's like, this is not an immigration situation. And I can close with this.
We are not a damn immigrant group. We are native-born, ethnic, foundational Black Americans created right here on this soil. We had a unique ethnogenesis, ladies and gentlemen, mixing with the Black Aboriginal that was already here. The captives brought over from Africa through forced trafficking, resulting in a new people, not an immigrant population. We are not immigrants. Captives did not immigrate. They were absorbed into an emerging population that already existed on this land. Many Black people were already on this land prior to European arrival, and then the people forced over, blended in with that. That created an ethnogenesis, ladies and gentlemen. That is not no damn immigration in any sense of the word, ladies and gentlemen. Immigration, that implies voluntary entry. That implies making a deal. That implies pledging allegiance to a new nation. No, that means leaving somewhere and then going somewhere better. No. We had an extremely unique situation, not even comparable in any sense of the word to some damn immigration. You don't immigrate into fucking slavery. You idiots. You don't immigrate into slavery, lynchings, and beatings. It's disrespectful to even frame the narrative like that. These people are so damn disrespectful, it's ridiculous. We didn't immigrate into abuse. We had to overcome that. We don't immigrate into being property. We had to overcome that. Disrespectful ass. These people piss me off. It's not even remotely the same. A lot of the stuff we were before the ethnogenesis were deliberately, violently stripped, removing the very definition of what a damn immigrant is. Foundational Black American identity was shaped by American soil, the laws, the oppression here, the survival strategies here, not immigrant assimilation. We had to start from scratch and get everything out of the mud. Immigration means somebody's helping your ass. Nobody helped us. We had to get it all out the damn mud. We didn't have a DACA program. Nobody gave us a credit card with some money on it the minute we got here. No. Nobody had little food pantries and stuff waiting on us. We had to create our own cuisine out of scraps. The hell? It ain't the same. We ain't no damn immigrants.
And I'll close with this. I knew a Somali woman named Ikra Osman, and she was just like, Chocolate, we do not, that's my legal name. They're like, We don't deserve African Americans. And she was obviously a rare woman to even be able to say this, to even find it in her heart to speak this way about the so-called African American. And I say that the way that my ancestor Malcolm X said it, because he said in a very famous speech, "You and I are Aborigines, but you don't like to be called that." And I say to Brother Malcolm now, what will we do now? We're ready for the title now. We weren't ready before. We're ready now. Um, and that's why he would call us the so-called African Americans and Afro Americans, because it's not really who we are. It's not really who we are. Uh, Martin Luther King said in a famous speech, the Negro language is in the corners of his own land, because our primary ethnicity is Aborigine. It's not African and it's not European. For me, calling me an African is the equivalent of calling me a European. I'm an American freedman. The ethnogenesis, it's just a different group of people. But she said, we don't deserve you. You guys have such soft hearts. You guys are not made out of what we're made out of. And she said to me, how are you going to be Pan-Africanist when we're not even pan ourselves? And Zane Good has this example of somebody braiding the hell out of her scalp thinking she was Igbo, and then relaxed and got nice once they figured out she wasn't. So imagine somebody, Yoruba Hausa, braiding your hair, imagining that you're Igbo. Then it's just like, by the way, I'm Negro, not Igbo. And they're like, oh, oh. Some Ghanaian women braiding your hair because they want the Nigerians to get out of their country so bad. They're all over social media burning down stuff, trying to kick Nigerians out of their country. And you walk into their shop and they think you're one of them and they start attacking your scalp. And it's like, if you want us to be Pan-Africanists, demonstrate it on your own. You demonstrate it. You demonstrate love for 54 countries. You demonstrate no discrimination between 54 countries. We showed you how it was done and we were rejected. Your turn. Your turn. But my thing is, there's a level of treachery here. And some people say you can't come back from treachery. When we bring you here and we put you in our clothes and we donate to you and we say, bro, you're black. I know you're Somali, but you're black. I know you're Ethiopian, but you're black. And I'm telling you this because I'm trying to help you. Our unity was denied. Our unity was denied. They played on our soft hearts. They played on the fact that we wanted unity. Not all of them, but too many of them. Right? Not all men, but too many of them. And we're like, we don't want to play this game anymore. We no longer feel safe with you. Come on, somebody. You see why she's laughing? Because I made up the part about the woman being Ghanaian, and she was Ghanaian. I made up the part. All she said was that woman braided her hair real rough because she thought she was an Igbo. Look, Zane Good 855 had an African woman braiding my hair real rough because she thought I was Igbo. Then got real nice when she found out I was just black. They can't even stand opposing tribes in the same country. Now, I made up the part about her being Ghanaian, and then 57 comments later, here she comes cracking up like, oh yeah, guess what? She was Ghanaian. Because right now, all over social media, you got Nigerian kings and princes and dignitaries moving into Ghana. And Ghana's like, go home, nigga. Go home. Stop taking stuff from us. We don't want you here. Burning stuff down. Fighting people passing away. Tires burning everywhere, tents burning everywhere, people protesting in the street talking about go home, Igbo. Damn. Then it's some kind of Igbo prince, some kind of Igbo something who I think it was only a few acres of Ghana he was trying to get, and they're just like, nah, fool. Every time y'all come here, y'all run amok. Go home, Roger. And the lady tearing up our poor sister's scalp was Ghanaian. That's not funny. I don't know why I'm laughing. That's okay. You don't gotta be welcome. They African folks. I went to elementary through high school with, only hung out with white folks. And that's another thing. They don't think that we see that. Whenever we say to them, delineate, delineate, they're like, oh, you just want to be like your white oppressor. And I'm like, no, you're projecting, boo. Even what is her name? Sexy, so long, Black American Princess. I'm probably posted in the hood like in incense. What's her name? What's that rapper name? Whoever she is, she's Solon. She's an American Aborigine. She's an indigenous Black American. Her manager though, West African. And all somebody, Tariq Nasheed, found all of his old posts, and it was like Akata this and that. I don't want no black beef or a baby mama. I can't get these black women pregnant. Blah blah blah. I'm good hanging out with just African and white folks, and I'm just like, yeah, it looks like you want to be like the colonizer. It ain't no. I saw a video of a UK Jamaican woman scooting on her knees across the floor to rub her head up against King Charles like a pussy cat, with her hands folded like she's praying to Jesus, on her knee, dropped to her knees. I'm like, you won't find no nigga doing that. I'm sorry. You won't find no Black American doing that because we don't look at them that way. You had a lot of African people passing out, crying when Queen Elizabeth passed away. Now, in full disclosure, I had a hard time losing Princess Diana. I was just a child, but I had a hard time losing her. But Princess Diana wasn't no colonizer. She loved Black people. She loved Michael Jackson. She loved Africa. She was one of the first people ever on TV to pick up a baby with AIDS and kiss it. She used her white body as an example because everybody was like, ugh, burn all the people with AIDS, man. Don't touch them. Don't smell them. You gonna die. And, Diana educated herself and they're like, hey, did you know that this stuff is not spread through sweat or saliva? Like you can hold, hug, and kiss these people and you're all right. And she's like, I will demonstrate that myself. Beautiful, beautiful woman, inside and out. I had a hard time losing her. But I mean, the Africans were crying about losing, Queen Colonizer Elizabeth, and the Irish were over there thugging it out, chanting, Lizzie's in a box, Lizzie's in a box. And I was like, damn. They know her, they're fellow white people, but they're like, nah, she colonized us. We had our own thing. We were Celtic. It was us in Scotland, and like we had our own thing, and here y'all came. Them Irish were thugging it out. Soccer games. Not even chanting about the team. Just clapping because, she passed away. And here you are, Black and crying. For a kingdom that was built on African skulls. Like that turns my stomach. We got words for that. We got coon and bootlicker and all kind of derogatory terms for people who act like that. Uncle Tom and Uncle Ruckus and all kind of, because we disdain that behavior. It's something Black people will jump on other Black people for. So I mean, the coonery accusations, I'm like, girl, you can cut that out. We're not impressed by these people. We live with them all the time, every day. Like, oh, Black people are always boycotting and angry. I'm like, yeah, point blank, period. Because we're always upset or angry with something that they've done, with some kind of legislation, with some kind of nonsense, with some kind of cop that gets away with unaliving a unarmed Black American boy, girl, mom, daughter, infant. Yeah, we're always upset with these people. We're not licking the ground they walk on, homie. Can you imagine Kendrick Lamar scooting across the ground to get his head pet by King Charles? Could you imagine? It's not like we don't have coons, but coons are ashamed of themselves. And you know what? They're isolated from the community too. They're not the norm. That's weird behavior to us. 97 was a good year though. You know what? You know what, Zane? The term light skinned Black, I hear Black Americans, is just annoying because outside America, some of us so-called light skinned Black people identify as brown people. Yeah, it just language on different continents and different countries evolve differently. But we have all terms, not just light skin. We got yellow, high yellow, we got red, just all kind of words and terms, especially because colorism was a big deal in our ethnogenesis. I believe it. The way blacks in the diaspora worship whites is downright disgusting and shameful. That's why they should not hold seats in Congress speaking on our behalf. Exactly. I talked about this earlier, how there was a half Panamanian, half Jamaican guy who works for Congress, and he was on the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne the God talking about how he doesn't support reparations because him and his people wouldn't get any. And I'm like, here's the deal. You don't deserve any, not from America. I was saying on a TikTok live before I realized that that's not where I'm going to go for panel conversations. I was just like, look, the people of Congo, do they deserve reparations? All capital letters, yes. From America, though, no. You go and you petition Belgium because that is where King Leopold came from. That is where the guy who killed over 30 million Africans, that's his stuff. That's who you enriched. Jamaicans, do they deserve reparations? You bet your bottom dollar they do. But who enslaved them? Who did it? The Queen. You're going to have to talk to London. You're going to have to talk to UK. You're going to have to talk to the United Kingdom. But when it comes to who did it to us, we are here in the land of our oppressor. And the problem is it's theirs as much as it is ours. So we're just like, all right, give us what we got and we can, we can be done here. Give us back the value that we gave you and we can figure out a two-state solution or whatever. And they're up there with their Caribbean behinds and their African selves voting no on reparations. And I'm just like, Pan-Africanism, my ass. Because anytime you got something, anytime you get an opportunity to do something for us in return, like we haven't dropped loads of money on you. Name your African country. Name your obscure island and see if a Black American Negro hasn't donated to it. Visited and donated. Name it. The Shirley Caesar, you name it. But when you get put in a seat to do something for us, you're quick to not reciprocate. And that's crazy. I was taught growing up, vote for him because he's Black. Real deal. You want to talk about how you were raised in your African or Caribbean household? Don't talk to the nigga. The niggas, oh, they're bad people. They are baby mama. The baby mama will wash off on you whole time. Their father is in Africa with 50 kids and half a dozen wives and, is over here with a green card laid up with an African American. I digress. It's like, oh, they'll go to jail and they'll get you shot and they do, whatever. Let me see this. Sorry. Listen about how Africa pays us too. I mean, they certainly, the African something, African Congress, African whatever. There's a group called 2025 Reparations, and they're trying to get Black American reparations to go to Africa. The Kenyan woman who bought Essence magazine said her goal was to reroute African American money to the continent. And I'm like, y'all don't think we need y'all don't think African Americans need African American money? I mean, because it's what you do. You make fun of our EBT cards. You make fun of the whole time. We're group number. We barely made the top 10. If you look at the 2025 research for who uses EBT the most, number one, Afghan refugee immigrant people. They use it. And of course, the most people on it are children and the elderly. But if you're breaking it down by ethnicity, Afghan is number one. Somalia is number two. Black Americans don't make the top 3. Black Americans don't make top 5. Black Americans are number 9 on the list. But it's like you'll talk about all this stuff and how we're broken, how you're doing so much better. Then why you got to reroute what's ours to you? You don't think it's going to hurt our feelings that you take over Essence and say whatever, we're the true Africans, respect your roots, it's ours now? Jollof versus jambalaya competitions. Jambalaya written in little bitty flimsy letters and jollof written like it's king. I've had jollof rice. It's all right to me, but it's not jambalaya. Maybe it's a cultural thing. Oh, ooh, there's that word culture again. We have no culture, but you sure are all up in it. If Essence Magazine ain't culture, you tell me what it is. If Ebony Magazine ain't culture, you tell me what it is. If Jet Magazine isn't culture, isn't decades of culture, you tell me what it is and why you're so interested in it. You jacked up a good thing. I've been to my matriarchal plantation in Louisiana. They can't tell me Nathan. Exactly. Exactly. Sis, exactly. When I tell you my maternal side were owned by different, look, child, it's too much to even get into. Anyhow, one of the plantations we were owned by was called Ferguson's, and some of my ancestors' last name are Ferguson because they are the children of the master. But I can go and sit here like Zane Good can and go lifetimes backwards to my great 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 grandmother, and you can't even do that for your birth certificate, and you're talking crazy to me. You don't know where you come from. You don't know your birthday, January 1st. Everybody in your house birthday is January 1st. It's 40 something people in the mosque on the sister side, and over 30 of them, they're laughing about having their birthday on the 1st because they don't know their birthday. You going to tell me I don't know my lineage when you don't know your birthday? That's rich. That's great. That's insane to think that you have a leg to stand on. I got a birth certificate. My mama got a birth certificate. My mama's mama, and African American ain't on none of them. I gotta check my brother's birth certificate. It could be on his, but I'm like, girl, the way that I can mix and match these things, the way I can plug these things into ancestry.com, the way I can get a genealogical expert and trace my people back to the late 1400s, you need to get out of my face. I had a Somali guy tell me that Black Americans don't know their grandfathers, and I was like, "Where did you hear that from?" And he's like, "Well, that's just what people say." And I was like, "I know both my grandfathers, just and not no step grandfather. Like I know the people who made me me." And he was shocked, and I'm like, "That shouldn't surprise you." People having an intact lineage shouldn't surprise you. People being married in the okay, welcome Caribbean. But here we are. Run me my shrimp and andouille my rice. Period, Zane. And it's so good. And it's so good. Like my mom is from Louisiana, so she gets down with the pans. She gets down with the pans. I low key even prefer my mom's fried rice over like any restaurant. It's just something about being from Louisiana and how people slang them things. They slang them pots and them pans like real heavy. Exactly. Created to show us in our beautiful light and other publications that would depict us negatively. Literally, that's where they came from. Literally, there was an untapped population of people in America who were not being represented. And these Black men fell upon a gold mine when they founded Ebony Jet and Essence magazine, giving us Jet Beauties of the Week just to remind you, yeah, both of her parents are Black and she's bad as hell. Combating all this white beauty standard, blah, blah, blah. Like we were the first. We were the first to do it. All the girls in all the other countries, I mean, even when I visited other countries, they're like, oh, fair and lovely. Oh, we must get the fair. We must get the fair skin. Oh, the fair is so important. I'm like, dang. I'm like, girl, you're a whole 10 and you're crying about being dark skinned. Like you're not even all that dark, homie. It just the mind warp of it all. That's why Beyonce had to hit the Southeast Asian community with that brown skin girl and put them in the video too. Like, hey, y'all colorism disgusts me. Y'all look fine in your color, all right? Now the whole South Asian community is talking about colorism. You welcome. Signed, a negress. We are of global benefit. And about before that, and how about before that, one of my matriarchal bloodline grandmothers was pure Indian stolen out. I could throw my cup across the damn room. Stolen off the reservation. So the way I am rooted here due to lineage, run me. Period. Run me my knee, nigga. My great great grandmother that I was just talking about on the Ferguson plantation was a full blood Choctaw. And that's why I side eye the people who say that they were here before us. It's not that I don't think Siberian Native Americans who, have Chinese, Korean, whatever heritage. It's not that I tell them they're not native, but I'm just like the very first natives of this land were enslaved. And when y'all talk about your painful history, you know what y'all never talk about? Slavery. You know what y'all are always talking about? Boarding schools, Trail of Tears, signing treaties to get walked off of land. What about all your ancestors who were enslaved? Right, because they weren't yours, they were ours. This is why I'm like, I don't mind when people say Native American are them and Aborigine are us. Because delineation again. It's the fact that you have no history of slavery. You have no memory of slavery. And in fact, you owned slaves. Asiatic, Siberian, Native Americans owned Aborigines. And Aborigines get done dirty all over the planet. Like people just do their Aborigines dirty. Australia do their Aborigines dirty. India, the subcontinent does their Aborigines dirty. You tell it, Jay. Mine too. Just talked to my loving papa last week, and my other papa passed 2017. Sorry, and left me an inheritance. They talking about stop inviting people to our cookout. Exactly, they don't get it, and then they want to tell us that we're not Aborigines, and I'm like, how are you gonna tell me? You swear up and down Malcolm X is such a noble man. He called us Aborigines before I did. You're not mad at him. The very first legislation in America before they translated the hell out of us, before they kept remixing our names, it's Aborigine on every document. What are you talking about? We're not saying there's no African ancestry here. We're saying if you get humped by Africans and by Africans and Europeans, and your group is Aborigine, your primary mode of ethnicity is Aborigine. And we're not on the land of, this didn't happen on an African land. This didn't happen on the European land. We're here being born on the land of our Aborigine ancestors. Why wouldn't we be primarily indigenous? Why doesn't that make sense to you? There's so many forums right now. They're just like, oh, blacks are African. All blacks are African. And I'm like, no, they're not. What about the Ayetas of the Philippines? Are they African? If there's an African ancestor in there, fine, but they're Asian. These Australian Aborigines are older than your people group, than the majority of your people groups. The only group of people on the earth older than them are Nelson Mandela's people. Them Australian Aborigines are Australoid. They're not Africoid. There's people in India blacker than I've ever been in my life. Blacker than Jasmine has ever been able to tan. Blacker than NC45 by Mac. Bliggity, bliggity, bliggity. Straight hair. Racially black. It's people in China. It's people in Indonesia. Darker than I have ever been able to tan. Darker than my mama, and people in Fiji and the Melanesians. You're not telling all them Aborigines that they're African, but they're all black. Them Samoans know they're black. Them Fijians know they're black. They might got words for black Americans in general. They might do that Mioli thing, but you ask them about their ancestors, they're like 2 or 3 generations removed from women who look like my mama. 2 or 3 generations removed from women who look like what's her name from is it Good Times? She had the kid who would be like dynamite. Esther Roll. Them Fijians and Melanesians, they great grandma looked just like Esther Roll. And you look at Esther Roll and think, oh, she's so African. I'm like, that is the face of an Aborigine. That is an Aborigine. John Amos, whoever played the dad in Coming to America, he looks like the Indian on the damn Cleveland Indian sign that they had to get changed. Same face. Why are we fighting about this? Why are you fighting so hard to make us believe that we're African and nothing else? We didn't ask for an ethnogenesis, and ethnogenesis just kind of landed on us. Black Americans are very proud to be related, to have ancestry that goes back to Egypt. The kings and rulers of Egypt. We're very happy to have ancestors who are Hebrew. We're very proud of Hebrew lineage. Some of us, it's all we talk about, these Hebrew Israelites. It's like if you're bloodline Hebrew, you got to be an African. You have to have something African in there if that's what you got. It's somewhere in there. From Ethiopian Hebrews to Igbo Hebrews, from East to West Africa, formerly of Northern African spaces, Egypt, whatever. Like some of these things you go in there and look at, some of these little pyramids and these little carvings you go and look at, they look just like you. People are proud of that. That ancestry is there, but that doesn't make us less Aborigine. We're just saying that if you were painting with colors, red, white, and blue, forget red, white, and blue. If you were trying to make, I don't know, you mix in blue and green and yellow and green, child, don't get me to go into kindergarten and mixing the primary colors. It's just our primary color. Nothing we can do about that. We know our lineage. My family owned restaurants and juke joints in Mississippi. We had pecan orchards for days. We have been doing our genealogy and only find tribes, no bills of sale. And that's a big deal, thoughts of a wildflower. That's a big deal. I be going through my stuff, my lineage stuff, and I'm just like, right, from boats. I know what you're talking about. Because I would have, and I'm not proud of it, I would have white people in my family show up on, ancestrydna.com, and they're just like, oh, Joe Schmo, this boat, 11 slaves, 6 boys and 4 girls or 5 girls, whatever it is. It doesn't feel good. But it's like when I'm looking for, bill of sale and this and that, I'm like, I have so far not found any ancestors sold from a boat. Now, when I do, I'm going to embrace them and embrace that. Because boat or no boat, my legacy, like, yeah, slavery is a part of it. And I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed of that at all. I'm not ashamed to be a part of, because of these people, America is the greatest nation. Because of these people, because clearly we have people running it into the damn dirt. But it's because of us that all this power is here. I can never be ashamed of that. But I'm like, if you want to tell a true story, say that. Right. John Amos with that Sphinx nose, looking like a Olmec head. So anyhow, I see no one was able to shout out to Zane Good because she tried. She tried to answer the panel prompt, which was how has Pan-Africanism benefited the Black American? And the overall answer to that is, I think, well, it hasn't. We've been the Pan-Africanist benefit. People like Muammar Gaddafi, people, and we haven't been the only benefit by far. Well, not by far, but we have not been the only benefit. But like, we got down with Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism has not showed us the same love that we showed it. And we're not saying, oh, divorce the diaspora, divorce, people who need help. We're not saying that. We just need a little time at home. We just need to get our house in order. We've only been here for this many generations and we do better than you. Okay, bet. More of a reason we need to delineate, because we need to gather ourselves around ourselves and figure out what we gonna do. Exactly, Zane Good. We're not doing one-sided loyalty anymore. I mean, East Africans, Ethiopians especially, used to hand me my ASS in undergrad. You have no culture. You don't have a culture. You're just a Black American, blah, blah, blah. All the time. And number one, I wouldn't talk to them like that because I was a Christian and I was like, I got to show these people Christ. I might be the only Bible they ever read. I would bite my tongue. I didn't say swear word. I didn't say shit, damn, fuck, bitch. I wouldn't do it. Not even when I was alone in my dorm room, all alone. I wouldn't say the words because I thought cursing was so bad and I was so sensitive about quote unquote sin. No premarital sex, no cursing, no alcohol, like just straight and narrow. So I had that as something holding me back. And also, I was raised a Pan-Africanist. Umoja Fest, Black Festival parades in the Central District of Seattle. I was raised a Pan-Africanist. And so I took that shit on the chin. And best believe I was getting chin checked all day, every day in undergrad about being a Black American and having no culture. Honestly, they baptized me in the kind of delineation that I seek now. Really, I owe some of this to them because there's absolutely a level of trauma there. I was so unified, we all bliggity black, blah blah blah, and I'm like, none of them felt that way. Not one. Not one of these East Africans, West Africans that I went to undergrad with, not one of them returned my sentiments. Now, I've heard through the grapevine that some of them, after they launched all their hatred at me, right? Because you got to think I'm like this soft girl. They can't talk to the football players at the school like that. They'll get beat up. They can't talk to the Black Americans on the basketball team like that. So we'll talk to the Bible study leader like that. So they would get it all out on me. And I hear some of them have grown up and they, share sentiments with Black Americans and they vote like Black Americans and whoop de whoop whoop whoop. But at the time, I was an international punching bag. Like somebody called you an African booty scratcher in the second grade, which I got called in the second grade too. Me too. Somebody pulled the dozens on you in second grade, and here you are at your big age. You're 20 years old in undergrad, and you got to do it back to somebody who will listen. And I'm over here biting my tongue until it bleeds because I'm a Pan-Africanist. It's a new day. Yeah, a lot of them, Zane, a lot of them didn't learn by now. I heard of one guy specifically, like he went viral on social media, a guy that I went to undergrad with. And he was speaking in favor of African Americans. He was an Ethiopian guy, and he was speaking against Ethiopians who talk crazy about Black Americans. And I'm just like, yeah, you were one of the ones. I remember you. I remember your face, your name, your hair, your eyes. You were one of them. You were one of the people who tried to make me feel small for not coming from Africa. And all you can do is ask a person to change, right? All a person can do is repent from their ways and change. So I'm happy with that. But as we sit here, we have yet to come up with, besides the 3 examples that I gave, we have yet to come up with any benefit that the Black American has got from Pan-Africanism. We have been the primary benefit. That was just a diss in 1992, let it go. Exactly, like everybody got called African booty scratcher. Everybody, it was just funny in 92. I don't know why. Because what's really funny about it? It's just a weird set of words to put together. Well, somebody didn't learn them by now for sure. It's strange how everyone is trying to literally tether up around us and destiny swap with us, yet despise us at the same time. And that's how we know that it's hatred and a hostile takeover. Cynthia Erivo playing Harriet Tubman when she belongs to tribes that sold our ancestors is cruel and unusual punishment. There's ladies online talking about Black Americans and, how we express ourselves, and she plays a hero. They're talking about they want her to play Shaka Khan. I'm like, Shaka Khan is a Sioux Indian. Sioux. She is a Sioux Indian. What's wrong with you? Is there not enough talent in the world? Is millions of us? You can't find one to play Shaka Khan when SZA is looking you right in the face? SZA can play young Shaka Khan, and hell, Nicki Minaj can play older, Shaka Khan. But really, we wouldn't even need that. It's not hard to find people who. I remember a famous interview where Michael Jackson was asked because of his skin color, would he mind being played by a white person? And he was like, no. Well, I don't. I'm not white. I'm a proud Black American. I have pride in my people. I am, like I have dignity and pride in being Black. I'm a Black American. No, I don't want no white mofo playing me in the video. You better paint you a nigga. You better go get Flex and make him pale. You better go get Nick Cannon and put some makeup on him. No, I don't want no, hell no. It's an insult. It's incredibly incorrect. And I was saying to Tariq Nasheed the other day on TikTok, I was like, this is why people swear up and down they don't know what a Black American looks like. Y'all remember the 90s? And it's crazy. Like, you had a lot of middle-skinned Black Americans on TV because now everybody is hella dark skin or hella light skin, right? They're hella dark skin or they're biracial. But remember when all them Cocoa Brown, like the men who were 90s fine? You can't find none of those kind of shows, none of that kind of entertainment, because there's a look about us, you guys. There's a look about Black Americans where you can just tell, oh, that's them. We do have our own look. It's a broad one, but it's ours. Hell, the difference between Pam and Gina in skin color is huge. But you can look at something about their faces, something about Tommy, something about Cole, something about Martin, and you're looking at niggas. It's all niggas. You can look at Tommy Davidson and David Allen Greer and the Wayans, even though, well, the Wayans, I believe, have one Jamaican parent and one Black American parent. But the thing is, like, we have a look, and that was all over 90s television and 90s music videos. And today, people can't tell us from Daniel Kaluuya, who was crying in Get Out. And I'm like, you got a man who was totally divorced from the context of Get Out, playing in Get Out. He's from the UK. He don't know nothing about driving through no sundown town. He don't know nothing about, like, I think it was Samuel L. Jackson, another indigenous Black American, who was like, could you imagine if one of us actually played that role? Somebody who can actually feel that? What role the movie itself would have taken on if the role was given to somebody who could actually, who has actually experienced that? There's not a group of people on the planet. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Because part of what they wanted from Daniel Kaluuya's character in Get Out was his body. They wanted his body. Who wins more Olympic gold than anybody? The Negro American. They wanted his body. That interest has never existed in the UK Black body. That obsession has always been over the American Negro body. Why? Because they bred us like horses for superiority. They bred us like horses, bred us like dogs, even making, that's where the term motherfucker comes from. The plantations, they don't tell you, they'll tell you about the indigo plantation, the sugar plantation, the cotton plantation. They won't tell you about these breeding farms. And the breeding farms were the number one plantations. That they were the most when it comes to type of plantation. Breeding, they were the most. And just like they do with pit bulls and Rottweilers, if the mother and the son is the best, they're fine. Traumatic stuff. And then you want to turn around and laugh about that, like, oh, I'm African, blah blah blah. I came here on a plane. You came here in chains. We're not the same. I'm like, yeah, I got no love for you. I got nothing for you after that comment. You can say sorry, and I still don't have nothing for you after that comment, because those chains, I still feel them. They still hurt me. They're still heavy on me. Call it epigenetic memory. It's still heavy on me. I still hum like my ancestors. I still hum a hymn like my ancestors. Where can I go with you after a comment like that? What can I do with you after a comment like that? That's more than hatred. That's beyond hatred. Denzel Washington said just that. Knowing how hair smells in a pressing comb is cultural. Exactly. When they asked him, they tried to make it be petty about, oh, well, do you really need a black director? It's like, no, I don't. It's not about his race. It's about the culture. Because somebody who knows what it means to smell, you know, a hot comb in the kitchen early on a Sunday morning, you know your first sister's getting her hair done, and you better get up and get dressed and wash your face and brush your teeth, because you're the third sister down the line. There's something cultural about, you can get 20 millennial African Americans right now and tell her to hold her ear. And she knows it's because you want to press her hair, flat iron her hair, blah, blah, blah. And that ear better not be in the way before it gets tinged. We all grew up holding that ear when that pressing comb got close to the hair at the root near our ears. We know what that's like. There's a smell associated. There's a feeling associated. And they play us to the left about it. It's like, what do I want to do with you after that? Waking up to Anita Baker on the weekend to clean the home is our culture. And when you hear that, and when you hear Sweet Love coming out the speakers and it's loud as hell, you're like, oh, damn, mama's down there cleaning up. If I'm still in the bed when she opened this door, I'm going to be in trouble. So I'm going to pretend like I've been cleaning up this whole time when she opened the bedroom door, knowing I'm just getting out of bed. It was just a bunch of Black American football players dancing to Fantasia. Their game warm-up song was When I See You. You know that I put your picture on the mirror. And the joke in the comment section was, all the men dancing are all the boys who were raised with a mom who would clean up on Saturday. That was the big joke. Because it's like, how are you, a football warm-up song is supposed to be like, let's go. If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. And they're like, I put your fit when I see you. It's like, yeah, mama had you up cleaner. There are just rituals and ways that we have that are all our own. Getting 0 sleep before picture day so you didn't mess up your hair after recess is cultural. Girl. And that rite of passage where every Black girl, their hair gets frizzy and they think they're going to use water to lay it down and then they ruin their hair that day. Girl, the pressing comb. Having friends that lost their hair due to just for me in elementary school is cultural. Girl, the way we season our food without measurement. And I end up punching the air when people say, how do we go from 400,000 to 40 million? And I say they had breeding farms in a few hundred years. That's facts. Breeding farms. Breeding farms, of all the slavery movies they make, it ain't never been one about a breeding farm. I'm telling you, if that was in the cinema, that would be the thing to get everybody else on code with, give these people their goddamn reparations. I mean, the way we wept for Cassie and these Diddy freak-offs. Now imagine they're forcing you to have one with your family. Or you get tarred and feathered and tied to 2 horses going in opposite directions. That's never the movie. Now, I wouldn't want to see it. But that's never the movie. The primary mode of operation for plantations never makes the cut for the movie. It's always cotton. Exactly, Zane. They don't know how intrinsic an MLK church fan with the local black funeral parlors info printed on. Exactly. We do. You don't even got to say, Martin Luther King fan is all you got to say to another Negro. You say that to anybody else, they're like, huh? All right, I've been here an hour. I'm going to go on ahead and get out of here. I didn't mean to hold y'all hostage like this. I just get to going and I go. But shout out to all of the new subscribers. I used to say 8K upate all the time, and then I lost about 400 subscribers. And it seems I've got new people here overnight. The one video did a lot for me. And I feel like that is confirmation from the universe that I'm moving in the right direction. So I thank you for being here. I thank you for being subscribed. And know that if we are to have these conversations where there are people from opposing sides, I want never for it to be a thing where people are attacking people and belittling people. A little jokey joke here and there is fine. But like, just the really severe things, I don't think we have to go there, because a lot of that kind of thing people can't come back from, right? So I don't want to do that on my side. Not going to allow it on your side. But if conversations need to happen, that's fine. But really, the way Jesus said, I'm only called to my people, Israel, that's my main concern. My main concern is with these indigenous Black Americans and how to take your constructive criticism and be like, you know what, bet. Especially that whole, oh, we just got here and we're doing better than you. All right, bet. Then don't mind us. We're going to work on we. We're going to work on we. Oh, but you still need to donate to Africa. We're going to work on we. I own houses and all your people own our EBT cards. Okay, bet. Thank you. We're going to work on us now. No, wait, nigga. Don't leave me, nigga. No, just bet. Thank you for the constructive, thank you for the destructive criticism. We got to get our house in order. So with that being said, I'll leave you guys with one of these and pop up out of here.
As the daughter of an immigrant, it is imperative that Black people from other places understand the disparate difference that they exist from Black people in the United States. It is not the same. Period. And ultimately, the best effort that we can do as a diaspora is to lead in understanding, not in judgment. So when I am talking to somebody from Sudan, from the Congo, from Angola, I am listening to understand their experience, not to undermine it. And I refuse to allow anybody from Grenada, from Angola, from any other place to come and try to undermine the experience of Black Americans.